everyone. We are the Local Food Action Pledge Group. My name is Blair.
And I'm Amelia.
I'm Jillian.
I'm Jared.
And I'm Lisa.
Here we have a quick overview of how our presentation will be laid out. We're going to begin with a quick introduction of our sponsor and how they came to be. And we'll follow that up with some background context on why shopping local is important. Afterwards, we'll dive into our actual approach and some subject matter on results and content that we found throughout our research, and finish that off with some of our goals and how we accomplish them, and a quick conclusion. So the Food Artisans of Camrose County was formally founded in 2017 by a committee of volunteers, and now has become a large part of local production within Camrose. The main goals of the FACC are to provide producers around the region with educational and networking opportunities, while also playing a large role in spreading awareness of shopping local to the people of Camrose County. Recently, the FACC has been teaming up with us here at Augustana to come up with new ideas to further their goals. And now I'm going to hand this over to Jared.
So first, we're going to figure out why we should shop local, and we're going to do that by looking at the three legs of sustainability, which are environmental, economic, and social. So first of all, looking at the environmental benefits of shopping local, we have the benefits of reducing transport emissions and reduced packaging. So on average in Canada, the average meal from farm to plate is about 1,200 kilometers, which is an absurd number. And if you're able to shop locally, that drastically reduces that number. And as a result, there's a lot less transport involved, which reduces those emissions. Secondly, if these animal products or products in general do not have to travel as far, then there's not a need for wasteful packaging such as plastic. And plastic is a well-known polluter to all elements of the environment. So if we can remove that packaging, then it'll be great for environmental sustainability. Secondly, if we look at the economic benefits of shopping local, if you support local businesses, you are keeping money in the local economy, such as Camrose County and the city of Camrose. And if we're able to keep money in the economy, we're able to stimulate local businesses and their growth much greater, which increases local job opportunities. And this is really big here in Canada because over half of all of the workforce is employed by small businesses. So if we're handing money to these large chains, then we're essentially hindering that growth and reducing the chance for more local jobs, which is not ideal. And lastly, there is a social benefit of shopping local. So this one's a little more straightforward. And basically, when you go to a farmer's market or one of these vendors, you're able to potentially establish relationships with these producers. Not only do you, establish relationships and get to meet where your food comes from, you actually get to potentially gain more knowledge on your food as well, which people tend to value quite a bit. And if you are wanting to shop more locally and change your habits, there are tons of options here in Camrose County. There's over 60 local vendors in the city and the surrounding county, and there's farmers markets in Camrose, Bashaw, and Miquelon Lake. And funnily enough, even Camrose has a year-round farmers market, which a lot of people are not aware of. And if we look at the picture right here on the right, this is from the Food Artisans brochure. It has lots of other great information if you Google it, and it just gives you a lot of contact information as well as what vendors sell.
So our main goal for the project was to raise optimal awareness about why you should shop locally. So our approach to this project was to first figure out how we could bring as much attention as we could to the Food Artisans Committee. Taking a step towards social media and similar platforms would attract a huge audience. So we met with our sponsors, discussed our goals, and came to an agreement about what type of content we should create for them. Our group decided to create a portfolio document that included all the various content we decided to create, such as fun posters and pictures that our sponsor can post on their social media, such as their Instagram account or throughout newsletters. The specific content that we choose will be further discussed in the results section. For now, our research began by watching the film First We Eat in order to gain a sense of what it means to eat locally. We chose to watch the documentary not only for class, but because the food artisan of Camrose County's local food project was initially inspired by it. We also took time to research the various food artisan members within Camrose County so we could include these producers within our various types of content and ultimately raise awareness about the different local vendors. We also decided to watch the YouTube videos that were made for this project by the previous group of students last year. Doing so enabled us to build on top of the information they had already gathered so we can maximize awareness about why you should shop local. Lastly, we conducted our own research by creating a survey that was distributed on Instagram in order to get an idea about how many people really take the time to shop local. The results of this survey will also be further discussed in the presentation. Here's a quick overview of the results that were included in the portfolio. We will be discussing the results of the questionnaire, the pictures and the posts that they can place on their social media accounts, the brochure that can be distributed onto their newsletters, and finally, some more awareness posts and other content that our sponsor can choose to post on whatever platforms they feel is best.
So one of the first things that we did was send out a questionnaire to people that we knew. This was a pretty short questionnaire, had about 10 questions, and we pretty much asked people about their local eating habits and their knowledge on local food in Camrose. We used this as a test run to see how the questionnaire would work and how many answers we would get, and just to see what the results would be. We plan on sending this questionnaire to the food artisans just so that they can use it in the future if they want to assess the knowledge of people that they can reach out to and just assess their progress with raising awareness. Just like with anything else, there were some limitations and biases for this survey. The first one being that we only had about 17 responses. This is because we could only reach out to the people that we knew, and we had pretty limiting social media followings and a smaller influence than the food artisans of Camrose County would have. And 2 of those responses weren't from the Camrose County area, so we couldn't really count them since we don't know where they are from. And we only ran it for a day, so in reality, if we would have ran it for longer, we could have gotten more responses and things like that. So the results for the survey, even though it was a pretty small sample size, they were really interesting and they told us a lot about our project and about local food in Camrose. The first important thing that we saw was that there was a lack of knowledge on how many local food vendors were in Camrose. There's actually only 3 out of the 17 responses that got it right. And more than half of the people that filled out the survey didn't know that there was a year-round farmers market in Camrose. And if you look at the top right graph here, you can see that 47% of people said that they only shop local in the summer. And this could be related to the fact that they didn't know that there was a year-round farmers market. And you can see the second biggest chunk is just that 23% people say that they never shop local. And when you look at the bottom left graph right underneath it, the main obstacle that people said was that they didn't know where they can purchase local food. And this really shows that the biggest problem here is the lack of knowledge and awareness. And when we asked people what would entice them to shop more locally, the most popular answer was if they had more awareness and more information about shopping local in Camrose.
Okay, so we decided to create several types of social media pictures that the Food Artisans Committee could post. Since these graphics are easily convertible, they can really post it onto whatever platform they feel, although we did recommend Instagram or Facebook as they have a bigger audience on those. We chose to create influential awareness posts containing a variety of facts, information, and statements to educate the viewers on the benefits of shopping locally. One of the type of posts we created were true and false facts as an easy way to spread information. We also created a series of food recipes that actually list examples of local food vendors that sell the ingredients needed for the recipe. These recipes raise awareness of where you can buy food within Camrose County, as well as educating viewers on different food that the vendors sell. We also created general awareness posts, such as this reminder that says, "You can't buy happiness, but you can buy local," as another way to grab attention of our audience. Our survey showed us that not a lot of people knew where to buy local food from, so we thought recipes and facts were a great strategy to acknowledge the different food producers of Camrose County. So here are some examples of the content that we made. And another graphic we created were a set of ready-to-go logos that could be placed onto stickers, buttons, or magnets. The food artisans community can distribute them to local vendors so they can hand out to the people who purchase food from their stores. Due to the slogan, "I proudly shop local," these graphics make customers feel better in general about the purchases they are making, thus encouraging them to keep shopping locally.
All right, so for the brochure, the objective here is that it is a ready to use, which information that addresses and embellishes the idea of shopping locally. It's curated to balance the desire to educate the target audience while providing the necessary resources to direct their attention to action. So the brochure endorses the food artisans of Camrose County as the main driver of the initiative and the means to achieve the endeavor. For that matter, we have included all of the existing social media platforms that are of use to the organization to make certain of all captured attention is met with supplementary resources. The content can be divided into 3 categories. The first is to address the most apparent obstacle, as mentioned, which was not knowing where to shop locally. Here, we provide the information of location and times of operation of the most accessible modes of shopping, which offer the most options of local vendors. Also included is the QR code that links to the 2021 FACC directory to further educate the audience on the 63 local options available. The next section addresses the justifications for shopping locally, which center around economical, environmental, and overall health benefits. The final section here focuses on turning interest into action by providing the audience conceivable yet effective practices such as eating seasonally. This recommendation promotes the consumption of products farmers produce periodically, focusing on peak production. Next slide, please. All right, so the advantages. The advantages of the deliverable is that it's versatile, cost-effective, and visually attractive. As mentioned, the brochure can be distributed in many ways, and the focus on digital distribution eliminates monetary limitations as well as physical distancing concerns. It is also designed to be a resource where the target audience can refer to again and again because the information placed before them is significant and concise. It's also visually appealing and consistent with existing FACC endorsements, which will familiarize new audiences to the organization and increase interaction between both parties. As for implementation, we provided the contact information as well as the requirements for content submissions to the Augustana Weekly, or if permissible, we encourage the FACC to physically distribute the brochures to increase target reach and to satisfy those who are not tech savvy.
Here we can see a few more posters that can be placed around town and perhaps in the Augustana Forum itself. And within these posters, we see one on the right-hand side here that includes a pledge. So the QR code allows for a quick and easy, at your fingertip way to commit yourself to shopping locally within Camrose.
And here we have yet another idea, which is a loyalty punch card. And the concept behind this is for us, or for local businesses, to build up consumer loyalty or customer loyalty. And it works like any other punch card, such that if they make a certain amount of purchase at participating local vendors, then they will get a specific saving on their next purchase.
So to kind of repeat what Lisa said earlier, our goal for the project was to raise awareness about shopping locally in Camrose. So the content that we made, such as the posters, the Instagram posts, the questionnaires, the brochures, and all of that, will really help the food artisans of Camrose County to spread information about shopping local, since, as we saw, the lack of knowledge is one of the biggest barriers when it comes to people shopping local in Camrose. And since our content can be used across all social media platforms and it can even be printed, it can reach a really large number of people and a lot of different demographics. And by having more engaging content such as pins, stickers, giveaway ideas, and even the action pledge, we can encourage people to take initiative and actually take that step to go out and shop local and keep doing it.
All right, so moving forward from these deliverables, we would like to list out a future projects the sponsors could explore. So the first, as mentioned by Jared, is a collective FACC loyalty program to encourage consumers to expand their local support to other vendors that is included in the FACC. And to supplement this, we create a local punch card that can be used when possible. And details of implementation will be based on the vendors due to monetary limitations, also to ensure equal benefits. The second is to consider to expand into the TikTok platform because it continues to be a large driver of content and trends. So by focusing on publishing videos that aesthetically pleases and captures the attention of users about shopping locally can and will expand the marketing potential and reach of FACC. The videos also can be published on their Instagram to optimize awareness. Lastly, looking into Food Artisans Cameras community featured seminars that would be open to the public will help educate the community about the importance of shopping locally. This also creates a collective dynamic where individuals themselves are given the opportunity to help better their community.
So throughout this project, we learned that it's really important for the individual and collective actions when it comes to living sustainability. There's a lot of ways that we can contribute to being part of the solution, and one of that is shopping locally. Put together, our communities will really thrive when we invest in them, and we really hope that you can see how your actions are more valuable than you think. And that sums it up for our presentation. I will open the floor if anybody has questions. However, I will mention, if you notice, there is a QR code up there in the top right corner. Feel free, if you have a phone on you, to scan the code and answer the local food pledge questionnaire that we made. Just has a few questions about your own local food shopping habits, and it can also you can also take that pledge and take initiative to start shopping local. Thank you.